Bum 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 bum. Hi.
Hi. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. We have survived. Congratulations. Christmas is over. The worst part of the worst part of the year. For those of you that binged on food like us, it's okay. For those of you that survive without eating, binging on food, and we're good. Congratulations, because it's one of the hardest part of the
Yeah,
year for us, at least, where it's super hard because of habits and the foods that we prepare and the cultural thing and the mental thing you're getting all the gifts from Santa. It's a reward system, so brain likes to kind of go into that zone of like, hey, let's just continue being happy, and it, gives you whatever stories to continue eating. Um, Marcin and Joanna, quick intro. If you're watching us for the first time, we're basically here to document our weight loss journey. We did 110 pounds previously combined. We're trying to do another 100 combined. And that's what we're doing. We're on episode 21, and you can watch us on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify. Best way to follow us is inside the our Facebook group, because that's where we kind of interact and share more information. And during the week, there's always something going on, and always latest and greatest episodes are in the group first. So with that, hi Joanna. What do we
hi.
have for today?
So today, being when we're watching this, when we're releasing this episode, it's after Christmas, it's after New Year's. We had fun. We ate whatever we ate, and now let's kick the new year with a good plan on how to either go back to your fasting or to start up the fasting. So that's
Yeah.
all we're going to concentrate on today.
Right. So this episode is really, who is this episode for? It's really for somebody that's either starting fresh, new, never tried, or for those of you guys that are like us, where you paused for about a week, we knew it was coming, and now you're like, okay, what is it I have to do again? We need that reminder from time to time. Me and Joanna do it all the time, periodically. So this is the episode. We thought of like sort of constructing this episode where Joanna will focus more on the technical stuff. Here's what you need to do: one, two, three. I have some extra notes that I want to add later on, and we're going to talk about a couple things like fasting survival kits and just things to remember and cleaning up your pantry. All of this good stuff is later. So I think we can go and start with you. We're not going to do numbers this week. We said Christmas, it's pointless to measure. We know we've probably gained. I know you were on a scale. I didn't, but I can guess probably 6, 7 pounds together with,
Yeah.
between water and some extra food, the extra cookies that I ate. Thank God you only did like 3 or 4 batches, because I would be in trouble. But back to you. Um,
All right, you
Go
guys.
ahead.
So let's just start. Your
Mhm.
first week, what you want to concentrate on your first week is just controlling your blood sugar. And how are you going to do that? In your meals, increase the good fats that are going to make you feel more full for a longer time. That's your avocado, your MCT oil, your grass-fed butter, and start decreasing the things such as the crackers, the cookies, any sugar that you add to your teas or anything like that, and also start decreasing your drinking calories. You want to stop drinking your calories. So basically, any of of the juices that you have, any of the coffees that we get, let's say at Starbucks, I love them too. Start eliminating those your first week, and that's all. First week, just focus on decreasing sugar, decreasing the processed foods as much as you can, and start planning for next week. That's week one. Okay. Anything to add, Marcin, to add week one?
No, I agree with you. So it's cleaning up the carbs and understanding this is for somebody that's restarting. Uh, yes, because they understand that we are talking about glucose and carbs. For anybody that's new, I just wanted to like inject quickly, because I always like roll. I always try to like simplify. So we are already fasting. Most of us eat for 12 hours, and then then we sleep for 12 hours, or we don't eat for 12 hours. And the name of the game is, how do we make the 12 hours 13 hours, 14 hours, 15? Like, the goal ultimately is to get, if you're starting, to get you to 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of eating time. So right now you may be eating your breakfast at 9 and eating a snack or dinner at 9, some of us, watching a movie, snacking on something, and then the cycle repeats. So it's 12 and 12. And that's what we're going to try to do in the morning: push breakfast, and in the afternoon, do your dinner earlier and extend that window. If you're super fresh to fasting, try not to do it every day. Maybe pick 2 days in a week. I always say, pick your busy days. When you're busy, distracted, you don't have to think about eating maybe less times. Um, and that's really it. So always remember, the eating food is your reward system. So kind of find your happiness in, like, hey, my numbers are going to be going down. Hey, I have this dress that I'm trying to do. Hey, I have this event that I'm going to be losing weight for. So basically, that reward, you're switching from some sort of a habit. Most of us, like, you turn on the TV and you start to snack on something, to, like, hey, I'm not going to do it, but I'm instead going to get something else. That's really it for the starters. Day week 2, I guess, from
Yeah.
your end.
So then we go on to looking at between week 2 and 3. Just focus on your hours. Take a look at when you start eating, when you finish eating, and start optimizing that time to be at least 12 hours. That's your goal one. If
Yep.
you're already at 12 hours, nice, push it to 14 hours. And again, so you've in week 1 you've decreased your sugars, you're not drinking your calories, you've introduced the good nice fats for your body. So week 2 and 3, now we're focusing on hours only. So, like I said, look at your hours first. If you're eating for more than 12 hours, work on decreasing that amount to 12 hours. So, look at your breakfast time and push it by an hour or half an hour. Look at when you finish eating and push that up by a half an hour, or an hour, whatever you can do. The goal here is to get at least 12 hours. If you are at 12 hours already, your goal is now to push to 14 hours, at least 14 to 16 hours. And that's just what you focus on between week 2 and 3. Okay.
Yeah, and week 2 and 3. So you'll notice, if you're starting or restarting, we already know that it's the first week, when you're doing this, you're going to be excited. Like, there's some level of happiness associated with it. You're motivated and excited, and first week usually seems to be okay. Some people are on the opposite end. For some people, the first week is like the worst. It's
Yeah.
a hell week, right? So maybe so is the second week. But if you're like motivated, like, I gotta go, I gotta get going. This episode is being rolled out on January 5th, I believe. So maybe you're already going, and you have that motivation. It's fine. But the true work really starts, like Joanna's saying, week 2, 3. That's really when this motivation and the desire to lose weight kind of starts to rub in and goes away. And that's really where the true work starts. So I always say, week 2 and 3, not only like tactically, you know what to do, what Joanna tells you, but also mentally, you have to sort of have the strong why. Always remember why you're doing this, right? So you have to have this sort of like a bigger goal other than weight. Like, Joanna does it because of the kids, and she wants to be able to keep up with kids, and like, that's why she started it, right? She wants to live forever, and then that's totally okay. That's why she's optimizing for health. I'm, on the other hand, I'm not so excited to live until I'm 100, but I'm optimizing for my health, because I was on, like, the CPAP machine and sleeping at night, and that was kind of weird. And my clothes, like, I was not really excited about shopping for my clothes anymore, because I was so fat at 311 that it's just it wasn't pleasurable to go out and shop. So for me, it was more, and then my knees were going, and I was all sorts of different problems related to my health, and I was sort of sick and tired of that. So, like, what is your why? Like I
Yeah.
said, maybe you have an event, maybe it's kids, maybe it's whatever, maybe you just want to feel better. Um, maybe you just want to look better. It's different for us depending on how old we are, right? Like in our 20s, it was all beach body. In our 30s, maybe it was more kids. In our 40s and 50s and 60s, like you start thinking about long term and like, hey, how long do I still have? Strong why is very important. Back to you.
Yes. So week 2 and 3, you have optimized your. No, I'm sorry. You have now found the window that you feel comfortable with, and now step 3, which is your week 4 and 6. Now you're optimizing your hours for what you want to do. If you truly want to lose weight, then you got to push your eating window between 60. Sorry, non-eating window, your fasting window, between 16 to 18 hours. That's when you're going to really get into your fat burning there. And then once in a while push in your that 24-hour fast, or 36 hours. But let's focus now on week 4 and 6 and just optimizing your hours. So if you're okay with 12, you're okay with 14, now you're going to do exactly the same thing. Push your breakfast a little bit up, push your dinner a little bit up, to now get to at least 16 hours of fasting window. Once you're comfortable with that 16 hours, that is when I always say, listen to your body, because sometimes eating for 8 hours might actually be too much for you on that day. Don't push food in. If you see that you're not hungry and you got an hour left of your eating window, don't eat. It's okay. You'll make it to the next day. This is how you push your body to start changing into that fat burning mode that you wanted to do much quicker and easier. And it's all by pushing your body a little bit. And then after week 4 and 6, that's when you can start playing with other fasts.
Yeah,
So
I think it's good timing. In terms of like playing with your hours, we constantly adjust, and sometimes we go through periods where maybe it's a little tougher to like stay on your 18/6 or something. We dial back, and then we stay there for a little bit. So it's like don't make it easy for yourself. Too easy for to yourself, but also remember that you don't have to go 120 miles an hour all the time. You'll just burn out quicker. You're going to lose that motivation quicker. So yeah, adjusting is important. Anything else on this time segment?
no, that is it. But I do want to mention to those folks that have been fasting and didn't are kind of off, like we've been off. A simple example of what how I'm getting back into this is by now my regular eating window is 18/6. So 18 hours fasting, 6 I'm sorry, 18 hours fasting, 6 hours eating. But because I know I've been totally off the schedule and eating more sugars, again, I am decreasing my sugars, as well as giving myself only 8 hours to eat right now, which compared to what I used to do seems way more. But that's going to slowly get me back into this groove thing, and without feeling bad. And then as time progresses, I'll close up my window back to 6 hours and start throwing away more and more food that I've been munching on.
Yeah, and it depends two categories of people, I guess, because some of us simply increase the amount of okay food to consume, and some of us, like myself, uh, totally like I didn't totally switch. I didn't live off the cookies, but almost. So if your sugars like dramatically increased, it's going to be tougher because not right now your body, like I notice even myself. Normally I get up, I'm not even thinking about food until at least 10 or 10:30. I get up now and it's 8:30. I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to rock and roll. Especially when you walk out and the cookies are sitting on top of the table. My brain immediately just goes because it sees the trigger and it gets happy and it's gives me whatever excuse that works at the moment, and then I just dig in. So what we do, and I'm going to talk about some other things that you can do in preparation, but like this, the part of that preparation is even like hiding food, getting rid of food. You know, me and Joanna, like we're actually gonna go before we get going again after like probably after this weekend, Monday again.
Hmm.
We truly focus on the diet. Diet becomes like the number one thing. Yes, of course there are other things that we have to do. We have to go to work, kids have to go to school, but like diet, we don't plan anything else. We try to clean up our calendars, not to get engaged with other things. And it's like at least for the first week or two, we're not scheduling outings. Nobody's coming over here. Like we're diet becomes the diet. It's okay to call it diet because it is a way of eating.
Eating.
But we optimize for basically like, hey, that's our thing. That's the focus for the next 2 weeks. And we really don't get any ideas. We don't plan to go out. Joanna's not experimenting with food that we typically don't eat. So
Hmm.
it's really like tuning in. And like she said, it's not necessarily hopping into the original window because that's really tough, especially after like a week of just, gluttony. And that's just what it is. So we try to slowly we go back like to a safety level where it's like 16 hours, even 14 or 15 hours, whatever works. And then as fast as we can, how can we get to 18 as soon as possible? So if we were starting from scratch, we would actually give it a week. We would sometimes give it 2 weeks. So if you're brand new to this, it's okay to pick the new window and stick to it for a week or two. If you're rolling back, I think it's safe to say, hey, extend it a little bit, and then maybe like 2 days into it, push it, and 2 days, push it. So depending on where you are, which kind of level you're in, just do it accordingly. Um, Anything else that you wanted to add?
No, that is it. It's just it's I think I believe it's a simple way of getting into it and not stressing, completely stressing yourself out and not being able to handle it mentally.
Yeah. So was it 3 or 4 steps? Can you repeat them like in one
Three
sentence
steps.
almost? Three.
So there's three steps. First step is just week one. It's basically just increasing your good fats that you want to introduce into your diet and keep throughout, and slowly starting to get rid of all the cookies, the crackers, all the processed flour things,
Yep.
as well as getting rid of your sugar drinks. That's week one. Week two and three is just looking at the hours that you normally eat and starting to push them a little bit closer so you're at least at 12 hours fasting. Okay. If you're already at 12 hours, good. Push it to 14 hours fasting. And again, doing this like Marcin suggested, maybe push it, an hour, have your breakfast an hour later for about 2 3 days, or as long, however long your body likes that, and start decreasing your hours. Your goal here is to get you to at least 14 hours of not eating. That's your week two and three. And then week four and six is optimizing those hours. Now we're looking at, what are you looking for? Are you looking to lose weight? Then you have to push your hours into 16 and 18-hour windows of not eating. And that's what you concentrate on week four and six until you're so comfortable that you even notice sometimes that you have one meal and you're fine. And that will happen, I promise.
All right. Cool. So on top of your tactics, I have a couple things I noted down that I wanted to share with both you to get your context on this, your angle, and some of us in preparation. There are people out there that are maybe as anal as I am, and I need more planning. You're like a tank. When you restart your diet or start your diet, you just go do it. I don't know. For me, it's this sort of a bigger mental battle that I play. So I need more preparation, and there's like 4 things that I constantly have to remind myself. Some require more work, some not, but 4 things are pantry overhaul, the extra food laying around, family, friends, like a support system. I have sleep and stress. That's one category for me, although it's 2 separate things, but they go together. So like sleep and stress, and then staying busy. So I wanted to kind of take apart. I'm not going to go deep on those, but just wanted to say this. So for pantry, I mentioned that earlier. We're basically either getting rid of food or hiding food. And we get it. Kids eat different stuff that you guys do. For us, it's a simple solution. We actually keep it in whatever closet, pantry, whatever you guys have, out of sight. If it's sitting there and you walk out in the morning and you look at it, it's an automatic trigger. I don't care what you say. I mean, unless you're just, psychopath and you don't react or you don't have feelings, then it may work for you. But if you're a regular person, then it's gonna work. Then it's even subconsciously, like it'll work on
Yeah.
you. You may not think about it actively, but you're thinking about it. So we get it out of the way. We throw out the extra stuff. I understand food gets wasted. If you're picky, donate it if you have too much of it, or share it. Your family will be happy if you bring a couple plates over, probably, or not after Christmas. You know how it goes. But that's one thing. When you go shopping, be careful. Don't buy extra stuff that you don't need. That goes especially to those that like to take benefit of like. Discounts at Costco. Let's buy pounds and pounds of stuff that you shouldn't be eating anyway. So be careful when you're planning your shopping lists, or like when Joy and I's planning meals. We don't experiment. We don't add stuff. We just try to like dial down and say, okay, what do we typically have? Beef, pork, whatever, chicken, fish. Basic plates. She usually plans out a week, or I don't. Do you do 3 days or a week ahead?
I do three big dinners.
Yeah, right. So ahead of time, like 3 days, how are we gonna kind of get going, and then you roll with it. So that's perfect. And I think as far as food, some people do food preparation. It's important. You want to remove that friction with food. So if you can prepare, if you're super busy, maybe single moms or dads or whatever, and like you want to prepare, by all means, if you can remove that preparation, the friction. Remember, things get not easier as you go. Like during the day, in the morning, it's a little easier, most of the cases, but that mentally. And then end of the day, everybody's tired, and you just don't prioritize things. So like you just deal with life. So if you have something that's sitting in the fridge, then do that. Next to the next category is family or friends. So I like to do that a lot. I know Joanna, maybe I don't know if how you're dealing with that, but I know for me, I even tell my girls literally sometimes they like to sit in front of the TV in the living room and like snack or eat ice cream or whatever. I tell them not to, like literally, or if I see, or maybe I'm more sensitive that and understanding at the same time. I think it's like a 50-50. Sometimes I tell them all the time, hey, we're now gonna dial down on eating that stuff, and this way they're not like sitting in front of me licking an ice cream, or they're
Yeah.
not offering me things, because a lot of times they're snacking and saying, hey, dad, like, do you want to try it or something, right? They don't say dad, they say tata, just because we're Polish, so you know how that goes. And the thing is, so I let them know. Same with like friends or whatever family. I usually make an announcement. As weird as it sounds, I may send a text message or just tell them in person. Say, hey guys, no, we're not, like, don't prepare, don't over prepare, because we're like focusing on food, so we're trying not to whatever. And listen, it saves everybody time and money.
Yeah.
So it works. And as far as like I say family, but also like friends, it's always better to do it together. So if you want to pair up with somebody and like for accountability reasons, maybe you have a buddy, a friend, and you want to do it together. You can share your weight, right? You can just say, hey, every week we're gonna do it. By all means, if it works for you, and if you're already in the Facebook group, join us. That's exactly what we do. We report our numbers. We're super transparent. So you can join us. This is actually launching on January 5th. So Joanna, you may already have folks working with you, on the individual basis, and that's exactly what it's for. Like, hey, get people in, because when you get together, you have to report the numbers. Guess what? You're going to do so much better when you're doing this in the group. This is just kind of quietly,
Yeah.
right, in the behind the closed doors, right? So and that not only goes with food, but also goes with walks. Hey, maybe there's somebody you can do a walk in the morning, like together. Maybe there's somebody you can go to the gym with. Maybe you do a walk at night, end of day or whatever. It doesn't have to be a friend. It could be a family member. Maybe like one of our girls, whatever. Like pair up with them and go for a walk. So
Yeah.
so it's always better to do it together. So that's family. Sleep. I think that's that's something that's very sort of intuitive, but maybe not. Fasting is a stressor, so it will introduce more stress just because it's not something you do. You have different habits, right? Especially if you're starting. So you're going to be dealing with more stress because it's annoying to eat less or even pick through the foods that you normally pick. And the two things you have to do is sleep, because sleep fixes stress without kind of digging deep. And then you have to you have to cut down on stress. Easy to say, not so easy to do. But with us, that's exactly what I said earlier about like, hey, we pick our battles, we pick our schedule, we make sure that we don't overcommit to other things. We make fasting our priority, at least for the first week, second, third, because then your body kind of switches into it and like you can act normal after that. But at the very beginning, we're like, hey, as little as we can do, we just focus on the main stuff, kids, work, but we don't plan trips or anything like that within the first, because there's always stuff around you, food around you. So that's super important. Anything that you wanted to comment in this category before I go on to the next one?
No, no, I agree with you. Part of all this is having a buddy system that always works with everything, as well as prepping, getting rid of the stuff in your house, and that's week one. You guys, you want to get rid of the stuff that you have laying around. Like Marston said, hiding works perfect for us. Yeah, and that is it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then a few more things here. Those are outside of those categories, just kind of randomly I'll list them. But one is water. Did you mention the water? I know we need
No,
to be reminded about water all the time,
yeah.
but I usually think of it this way: roughly gallon of water a day. If you can do it, great. If you can do more, do more. If you can do less, but try to pay attention to your water consumption.
Yeah.
I always look at it this way: close to a gallon as you can. I do about 3 liters or 4 liters sometimes, but I noticed that when I do anything close to like a gallon or over, I pee like a madman. So I try to just kind of listen to my body. That's what Joanna said, right? Listen to my body, and then I basically, if I have to pee every half an hour, I'm drinking too much. Like I just can't handle, So I try to look at the intervals of how many times I have to go to the restroom, and then pee has to be sort of like they say straw color, so like pale yellow.
Oh yeah.
If it's orange, you're not drinking enough. If it's totally clear, you're peeing out water and you're drinking too much. So just pay attention. Don't drink 2 hours before bedtime because you're going to be peeing a lot. So they say whatever the rule is, 3, 2, 1. 3 hours of no food before bed, 2 hours of no water before bed, 1 hour of no light, meaning don't sit on your phone. A lot of us do that. I get it. Try to do as little as possible. That's what
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. And water, just for context, I never understood this idea of like water. Everybody says water, water. It's like hearing solid when it comes to dieting, right? And it's like, why water? Think of it this way. So your body is composed of cells. In every cell, there is a thing called mitochondria.
Yeah.
Mitochondria.
Yes.
Mitochondria.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so think of it as like that as being like a little engine for every cell in your body. Water is super important for your cell to operate properly and feed that thing. So it's like a fuel. And that's why you have to do it, because the more water you put in, the more efficient your body is at converting your fats and running as efficiently as possible. And the idea is like, oh, do I have to drink water? You don't have to drink water, but if you drink water, you'll get there faster. Do I have
Yes.
to increase my hours to 18? You don't have to do 18, but if you want to get there faster, go to 18. Do I have to fast for 24 hours? You don't have to, but if you do it, you're going to get there faster. So just pick like how fast do you want to get there, and just be okay with that. Don't go too crazy, because if you simply start doing everything all at once, you're gonna quit because it's gonna be too much for you, for your body to handle, and your brain will sell you a perfect story why you should not do it. So that's that. And also, water is easy to like sneak in other things like minerals, like electrolytes. So there's things where like the element where you add it to water, you can add salt to your water. For the
Yeah.
minerals are super important. They solve problems of like digestion and headaches and other things. So minerals is where you can sneak it in the morning with salt. We always mention Baja salt or Celtic salt. For like at night, sometimes when I can't eat anymore, but I'm a little hungry, I sneak in element. It's just a powder flavored. I drink it. It gives me minerals for the body. It feels like you ate something, so it's so you can kind of cheat that way. So water is important. Anything you wanted to add on that one?
No, you're covering
Okay.
everything that we do and use. Yeah.
Yeah. I already mentioned that you should be planning, like when you're experimenting with longer fasts, or when you're like, let's say you're on, 16, 8, and once in a while you want to go nuts and maybe go to 18, maybe go to 20, depending on how you feel. If even if you plan 18, but like you're not hungry at 18, don't eat at 18. Again,
Yeah.
if you want to get there faster, do longer. So so you can feel maybe if you're planning on 18, but you can do 20, and then just make sure that if you push too hard the next day, sometimes we feel tempted. So sometimes we go to like 20, and then the next day we're super hungry, and sometimes we overcompensate. Like we eat
Yeah.
more than what we normally like. Don't worry, you're gonna learn. Do it for the first time. You may probably mess it up, may probably not work. Maybe you're gonna overeat, like holy crap, that did not work totally. It's okay. You're gonna know next time what to do and not to get too aggressive. So after like 3, 4, 5 times, you'll know. Um, and then the last thing that I wanted to cover is this sort of like I think of it as like a survival kit for like just things that I have to have at home, or in my head, for when I'm starting fasting for the first time or restarting my fasting. And I'm just gonna go randomly, and then let's go back and forth. I'll mention the thing, you'll add something or not,
Yeah.
and then I'll move on to the next thing. Okay.
Sounds good.
So the first one is snacks, like good snacks, not bad snacks, good snacks. So especially like after Christmas, I'm in this mode of like snacking or just grabbing something.
Mhm.
When I go week one, my head is just it's a habit, right? It's like I'm not even hungry, just looking for things around, right. So I usually try to have some good snacks, whether it's cheese or nuts or whatever, and then I just try to have it at home. And also, if you're traveling or if you're working from an office, try to maybe even have a snack at work or in your car. I know it may sound weird, but like even a little bag of like peanuts or something, put it in,
Yeah.
stash it in your car. In the office, if you can have something handy, whatever it might be, just so when you get hungry, a little bit of hunger, or hanger, then you can reach for the right stuff instead of the bad stuff. Anything
Right.
on snacks from your end?
Yes. So I also like to prepare like a big box of just cut up veggies. It works well for us because if I leave it in the fridge, sometimes people don't grab it. But once I take it out before dinner, I get all of us, all four of us, tend to grab a couple veggies before dinner or while we're a little hungry, instead of going to the pantry for the bad stuff.
Yeah,
So I say cut up veggies.
very very good point. And when she says cutting up veggies, it's literally cutting up veggies. There's no preparation involved. It's not like a fancy salad or anything. It's
Yeah.
literally celery, little
Yeah,
tomatoes,
carrots,
or
tomatoes, peppers. I cut
yeah,
up a cucumber
yeah,
and just put it all into a container, and that's it. I have hummus. Who wants it with hummus? I love hummus,
yeah.
um, and that just stands there while, let's say, I'm cooking, or when I know that everybody's always goes looking for a snack in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
yeah, it's super important because two things happen. Like we finish our work in the afternoon, and then kids get home in the afternoon. Kids get home, they're usually hungry, so they're immediately, even when we're working, they're already kind of snooping around for looking for things. If we're not paying attention, they will go into the pantry and grab the bad stuff. So if you
Yeah.
have the veggies, you can just put it out there with some sort of a healthy dressing or hummus, and
Mhm.
a snack. Also, when Joanna prepares food, sometimes I'm sitting here in a meeting and like I finish and head to the kitchen, and guess what? Like sometimes even when I sit here, I smell food, right? So your brain gets going and like you're becoming hungry, and first thing you get to the kitchen, like into the kitchen, and it's the food is not ready, you're gonna start looking around. So when the veggies are sitting, it's so easy to just grab it instead of
Yeah.
going through the fridge and trying to find something. So yeah, snacks, I think we're good.
We're good.
I covered meal prep. There's not much I have to add or say, but I know that I always like, hey, just make sure we have our food back, right? Like the when I say that, it's the normal meals that we try to like repeat on a weekly basis, because that's the easiest way to to do it. Like I know a lot of times when we are switching back, my brain sort of fights back because I almost get this feeling that I'm like, remember when we were optimizing for weight loss, we almost think that this is like a forever now life, and we'll never get to like appreciate the sweets or snacks or anything like that. That is not true. We're just doing this for a period of time to lose, then maintain, then to lose, then maintain, then to lose, then maintain. Sometimes we're going to gain. It's okay. But as long as the trajectory is downwards, then we're okay. So meal prep, the foods, like, hey, let's just make sure we have the same stuff, and then we just repeat it. Next one is
I just want to add
electrolyte.
one thing. One
Yeah.
thing. I suggest when you make your dinner, and let's say we grill a lot. When we grill chicken, I try to grill a little bit more. So this way, next day, if it happens to be a very busy day, we have it there. When I do, we like butter squash and sweet potato in the oven. I cut up more of it so we have it, so it's easy to just grab. Little things like that really help out, and same with your veggies. Steam your veggies and put it in the fridge, um, a little bit more than what you would do for dinner for everybody.
Yeah, cool. Next one, good point. Next one is electrolytes. I already mentioned that they help me kind of cheat around, and it's cheating in a way that when I drink my water, when I stop eating at 4 or 5 p.m., and then it's 7 or 8, I have sometimes good days when I just don't care. I can go to sleep. You're gonna be a little hungry. That's how we lose weight. You have to be a little hungry to for your body to tap into other sources of energy, meaning your fat. So sometimes I have good days. I don't care. I just go to sleep. I get up the next morning. I'm not hungry, obviously, because I just got up. And sometimes I have worse days where I have to add something to my water to make water more palatable. It does two things. Inside, it gives you the minerals, so your body actually feels like you just had a little snack. And when you're drinking, especially I love Element water. We're not sponsored by Element, but I love it just because it almost feels like you're having, it's not a meal, but it's almost like a substitute because it's so much flavor in it. It's a flavor of fruity flavor, plus there's minerals and electrolytes, so it feels a little salty, a little sweet, so it's a nice mix. And it just, for my brain, my brain is lighting up whenever I have elements. So it's not just water. Like a lot of people will say, fill your stomach with water, you're not going to feel hungry. Like bullshit. Yeah, it helps a little bit, but if you have it with a mix with elements, it's the experience is, at least for me, is so much better. Hopefully it is the same for you. Anything on electrolytes?
No, I definitely use those while traveling and I don't want to eat. I use electrolytes. And for the evening, where you go with electrolytes, what works for me is a big cup of warm water with half a lemon. And lately, I've been adding cut up ginger, fresh ginger.
Oh, yeah. I think my mom does that as well. But yeah, no, it makes sense. Next one is broth. I'm not huge on broth, but I know broth. A lot of people that are fasting love broth because it's almost like, we're both Polish, so soup in our house was a sort of a norm. But drinking broth gives you, it's like element and electrolytes. It gives you the sense of eating. So you know how most of us probably had chicken soup, most of us. So it's the same. It's like drinking chicken soup, right? So
Yeah,
so you have broth. You can actually add some spice to your broth to your liking, so it doesn't have to be this plain out of the box thing. But I know when I have it, even on my when I do like a prolonged fast, let's say 3 days. Sometimes on day one, I like to add broth because you don't go from like just eating regularly to nothing. You go from eating regularly to this one step in between of like just drinking broth. It gives you flavor, feels like you're eating. And plus, broth is not only good that way, but it's warm drinks for your gut, for your
yeah,
microbiome, for the stuff inside your intestines. Super good. They love warmth. That's why Joanna drinks her warm water with lemon. And I know some people like to do that. So even try, if you're trying to replace your snacks, try broth, because
yeah,
sometimes your brain just
yeah,
needs something, like it needs flavor, like something in your mouth. If you do broth instead of a snack, so much better because you're not going to load it up with calories. Though there will be 100 calories. This is those are, I always talk about my snack balls. This is my snack ball, Exhibit A with my nuts. I can't tilt it, but that's really what I have. This is what I this is a good example because this is half of what I would normally eat, and this is about 400 calories. So that's a lot. I mean, this is a handful. Um, and when you do broth, when you do the replacement, it's so much easier to do it that way. Anything else on broth?
no,
Okay. Some people also like to do. They like to have something. Some of us like snacks, just as in food, but some of us like sweet snacks from time to time. I know Joanna is. She has an arsenal of little snacks that she sometimes uses, but I know like one of your go-tos is the whatever magical chocolate that you use. But if you want to simplify, you can go with something like sugar-free gum, just for having a sensation of chewing
yeah,
on something in your mouth. So it's mental because you're chewing. It gives you that sugar sensation. So sometimes people love to do that. You want to talk about your snacks? Please don't mention them all.
yeah,
Just like the core.
yeah. So I think a good, if you like nuts, I think a good thing to have in your pantry is raw in that sense. Just grind peanut, either peanut butter or almond butter. Just make sure you read the label, because don't get the regular Peter Pan or Jif, because they have tons of sugar and palm oil. It's not going to help you. It's actually it'll make it worse. So grab just a regular raw almond or peanut butter. Just, you can have some sea salt in it. That's it. And I get 90% or higher dark chocolate, and take one square and dip that, eat that with my nut butters. Awesome, delicious. Women, you need this. It's so good. And of course, another one is just an apple, cut up apple with my nut butters. He's laughing at me.
You should do that. Listen to whatever she says. That's what I do, and it's been working for last. How long have we been married? Well, we know each other forever. We know each other for over 20 years. So, okay. So next thing is last two things. One is, which is going to be controversial in Joanna's world, but it will used to be her go-to, which is Metamucil. So it may work for you, it may not work for you. It makes you Joanna, for example, has spikes higher than what she would like to see.
Yeah,
So but she used to, like, you were on Metamucil
yeah, every
regularly.
morning.
It makes you regular, right? Like whatever it does to your intestines inside, it makes you more, you're not constipated and you're not dealing with issues. So Metamucil helps you with that a lot. But drawback may be it's a little like sweet. So two things: she used to have spikes higher than what she would like. Her glucose would spike up more, and then it's also I don't know if there is like artificial sugar or whatever, but it's this
It is
mental thing.
artificial sugar. Yeah. Mhm.
So it could give you this, like, if you're super sensitive to those triggers when you have sugar and your brain constantly goes, give me sweet, you may
Yeah.
want to stay away from it. But if you're okay, like I had Metamucil, I didn't like I don't care either way. Um, so that's one of the things that you may want to look into. Measure your glucose if you're fine and you like doing it. It's a great I think it's a great supplement. Anything you wanted to add on that one?
No, yeah, I used to love it. I just substitute it because of the like the sugar, like you said, a little bit of a rise on top of it. My brain would be like, "Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. Let's continue with the sweet." I changed that up with a morning salad, and my salad is it's a ritual for me. It's just like organic greens, whatever is on sale I get, I just put it on my plate. On top of it I put avocado, and I put olives, put balsamic vinegar with a good olive oil, and that's it, and some guacamole spices,
Yeah,
and that's my substitute for the fiber drink.
yeah, makes sense. And the last one on my list, this is not something you actually have to immediately go out and get, but blood glucose meter. We've mentioned that in probably more than one episode. Keto Mojo is our go-to meter. If you're looking for a link, we can probably supply it in the comments. But if not, you can also find it. Do we mention that in files, or I don't think so? We may want to probably post it again, so keep it on your list, Joanna. If you can list something on Amazon's, just so folks know exactly kind of which
Yep.
model or whatever. Blood glucose meter. If you are familiar, you know what it is. If you're not familiar, you basically measure. You have the little lancet pen. You poke yourself, and then it's totally safe for people that are afraid of like needles and stuff. Joanna is that way, and she's handling the Keto Mojo. It's totally fine. And basically, you just measure your levels of glucose. We're going to be going deeper on this if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, with anything you eat, your glucose levels go up. And if you're in a higher range, 90s, hundreds, over hundreds, and higher, there's a lot of people that are even 200 level category, type type 1 2 diabetes. You basically measure with every food you consume. You can measure and you can kind of see how is it impacting your body, and the name of the game is to keep that number as low as possible and consume foods that are not causing your glucose spikes and downs. Is to basically to eat foods that are increasing,
Consistent.
that are more consistent, that keep your glucose within a range. So
Mm.
yes, you're gonna always have spikes. It's just they're not gonna be super aggressive. They're gonna be prolonged over time, over like a couple hour period. So the blood glucose meter is important in doing that. And at the beginning, you may start doing it, daily. Then once because you're going to learn over time what affects
Yeah.
you and not, you may actually lay it off and not use it as often. But one way is to do it this way, and the other way, they have continuous glucose monitors also that you wear on your arm. You probably see people sometimes wearing like a little chip on their arm, and that's basically a different way of doing it. This is sort of like a continuous ongoing. That is an expensive option, usually $200-300 to start. There's a monthly charge, probably $60-90 a month. But the nice thing about it is that you can just take your phone and you have that thing on your arm, and every single time you eat or you drink or anything, or exercise or walk or do, when you're stressed, you can go just tap your phone to the meter, and then on the application you basically see how you're affected. That's the
Yes.
perfect way to do it. We always do it the getaway, the cheap way. So we're doing it manually. But that is really it from my end. Anything else you wanted to add? Anything else you wanted to summarize, synthesize?
I think the glucose meter is a perfect thing to introduce in step 3, 4 to 6 weeks, to optimize your food and optimize your hours, and this will help you 100%.
This is something that I'm sharing probably too late now when you guys are watching this, but we were recording this episode on December 28th, so it's prior to New Year. But Joanna will be making an announcement, so by now you hear this, it already happened. But we're gonna try to include something, maybe a Keto Mojo meter, for those of you that are gonna be interested in working with Joanna directly. So and then we're gonna probably do some sort of a drawing or something, make it cool, just so you guys can take benefit of it. But that's later. That's in January. So
Yeah.
anything else we wanted to say? I think it was a good episode. A lot of good stuff to get going, to get started. Again, if you're watching, listening on Spotify or watching us on YouTube, uh, coming into our Facebook group. That's where we are. That's where we can ask questions, follow along, see others doing the same thing that you were doing. Joanna, anything else from you?
Nope, that is it. If you guys have any questions about how to start this, or don't understand this 100%, just reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to slow it down or write it down or whatever works for you
Yeah,
on this.
yeah.
Um, I do want to mention that on the 5th and 6th, we're going to try to do a challenge.
So this one is rolling out on the 5th, right?
Correct.
So this is going to be too late now, or?
No. So our episode is coming out, I believe, on the 2nd, this
Oh,
episode.
okay.
And the challenge is Sunday evening, the 5th, when you have your last meal. That will be your last meal for 24 hours. We're going to try not to eat all Monday until Monday, whatever your last meal time was at dinner on Sunday. Those of you that can make it to 36 hours, awesome. Let's continue fasting to 36 hours. But our goal here is to 24.
It's a challenge, baby. So we're starting with 24, you said, and then we're going to try to push it into 36. Who knows?
36.
Some of us are going to go nuts and do like a 2 day thing, but that's later. So that's it from us. We're actually heading out to Orlando to see our friends. They're visiting from Connecticut. A little bit of a shitty weather, but hey, it's looking brighter. Hopefully, it's gonna get better. So enjoy your weekend, and that is it from us today.
That's it. Goodbye, you guys. Fast on.
Bye, guys.